Hi, Lindy here, and thank you for joining my channel. If you are new to my videos, welcome. Today I'd like to show you how I make an ice cream cake, a delicious frozen dessert gorgeous for summer. What is so delicious about this recipe is you layer it, pop it into the freezer, and whenever you want a slice, you just cut it out, and for unexpected guests, it's a win. So let's do a quick rundown on what we're going to need. I'm actually going to make 2 ice cream cakes today. One is going to be in this 9-inch tin, and this is a 10-inch tin with a loose bottom, so a springform tin. And here is our cling wrap, which we're going to line the tins with. Over here we have the Oreo cookies, which I crumble in a blender. We're going to then add some butter that I'm going to need to still melt, and we're going to line the bottom of the springform pans with the Oreo mix, and into the Oreo mix we're going to add some hot chocolate fudge. This is the only cooking part of the recipe, and into the hot fudge we've got golden syrup, butter, sugar, salt, some vanilla essence, chocolate, cocoa powder, and some cream. Then we've got our ice creams. Here each of these containers is 500 milliliters. I put 3.5 into each of the dishes, and I may in fact put a little bit more into the slightly larger tin. You will need to soften your ice cream a little bit. The ice creams I'm going to be using are the salted caramel and the sorbet mango. It sounds like a strange combination, but it's quite delicious. I put the sorbet in the center with the salted caramel on either side. You will need to soften the ice cream, but you don't want to make it runny. So what I do is I just put these containers into my sink, which is cool, and I leave that there for about half an hour while I'm prepping everything together. Let's start by putting these back into the sink, and I'll meet you now. So I will in the description below write down the ingredients, but please take note that this quantity is for 2 ice cream cakes. I'm going to begin by lining these 2 springform tins and give it some good space over the edge. We put that into it like that, turn it around and line it the other way, which makes it easier to remove the ice cream. And the next one. When blending the Oreos, we don't want them too fine, so we're going to just put in 10 at a time. And while I'm blending these, I'm going to put these 10 in, which are going to get sprinkled on the top. Next step is to add the melted butter to the Oreo cookie and mix them up. I like to add a little bit of chocolate to that as well, so let's get started on the hot fudge chocolate. Start by unwrapping the chocolates. I bought this chocolate, which wasn't intentional. I didn't realize it said salted caramel, but I used it last time. It was so delicious. I'm going to use it again. We now place everything together except the butter and the vanilla. So let's put this aside. Breaking the chocolate bar into smaller pieces makes it melt quicker. Start heating the chocolate, and we're going to use a whisk. In goes the cocoa. We don't need to sift. Sugar, salt, cream, and cornstarch. Whenever working with sugar and chocolate, you want to be very careful of the timing, because if you leave it, it can crystallize or separate. Melt chocolate on a medium heat until it starts to boil. This hot fudge sauce will last in the fridge for about a week, and it's delicious served on a variety of desserts. Gently boil until the thermometer reads 104 degrees Celsius. If you don't have a thermometer, boil for 3 minutes. Remove from heat, add butter and vanilla essence. You can see it's quite runny. The butter is going to thicken it, and as it cools down it will thicken. I can smell the vanilla essence. Add a little bit of the hot fudge and mix it with the crumbled cookies. We're going to put half into the smaller tin and half into the larger tin. The larger tin will just have a slightly thinner crust. To spread that over the bottom, you can see it's not a lot. My theory on all of these things is little is better. Flatten it into the tin. I find that gloves work really well because it sticks to the spoon, but it doesn't stick to the glove. Don't worry if you have gaps. It doesn't actually matter. It all comes together nicely. Once that's finished, we're now ready to start putting the ice creams into the tins. So I'm going to start with the salted caramel here. And then I tend to just chop it up a little bit. Don't scrape the base because you don't want to damage it. And I'm going to put a little of this in as well. And into the smaller one. So I just cut it up a little bit to spread it. It doesn't have to be a perfect thickness. You can see the salted caramel in it. And then on top of this, I put a little bit of hot chocolate. And this goes straight down into the freezer. I just cover it over a little bit and straight into the freezer so it doesn't get any freezer burn. After 30 minutes, take them out of the freezer and add the next layer of ice cream. If you have the time and patience, what you should actually do is you should leave it to freeze in between each stage. I get a bit impatient by this stage, and I did it the same way last time and I found it worked. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the mango in the middle. I sometimes find that just to put it like that is the best idea. The secret is not to mix it too much. Just cover the ice cream very carefully. Don't be tempted to mix it around. And then, living dangerously, we're going to put this on the top of it. And we're just putting little dollops of this on to try and cover it up. Is just sprinkle this on. Half of it. This obviously also means that there's no top or bottom because they both are pretty much the same. Hot fudge all over it. And pop it back into the freezer, ideally for 12 hours, but if you can't wait, just check and see a little more of this on the top, just to give it some texture. Cover it up and back into the freezer. The ice cream cakes were in the freezer for about 15 hours, so I've just removed them now. And I've put this platter I'm going to serve the cake on into the freezer for about 20 minutes, just to get it nice and cool. Over here I've got a spatula and a sharp knife with very hot water so that I can cut through the cake. I do have a nice cake cutter and server, but I just can't find it. So we're now going to plate the small ice cream cake. You can see what it looks like here. We'll pop this back into the freezer. We're going to start by loosening the cake, and of course in the spring form it's so easy. We just loosen it like that. Now the ice cream cake has been wrapped up in this cling wrap. It's not going to be perfect on the top, so now we just need to take the palette knife, slip it off the bottom, you will need to wash your hands after this, but it's not terribly bad. And it's now pretty solid. We just put it straight onto the plate. So we get rid of all of this. So I'm back, having cleaned all the sticky off the counter surface. We have the springform tin here, which I'm going to reline with some new cling wrap, and I have a lovely plate here from my mom's dinner service. If you'd like to decorate it, you can put whipped cream on the top, you can put sprinkles or chocolate crumbles or whatever you choose to do. My family don't really like cream, so I'm not going to add to the sweetness. So I like to keep it like this. We're going to slice this now. Begin by slicing into it with a hot knife. Remember, there is a biscuit at the bottom and you need to get through that biscuit. My name is Lindy and thank you for joining my channel. If you enjoyed watching how I made this ice cream cake, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when my next video is available. And I see now it's starting to melt. I better get it back into the freezer. Take care and bye.